Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Suplexes, Scores, and Save Points, your home for all things wrestling, sports, and video games. As always, I am your host, Ryan, and with me is a man who got to see a very good football game live and in person. It's my brother, Nathan.
So, I'm trying.
We've got a lot to get to today. We got some baseball news. We had a crazy week in football. But we're going to kick things off with what was one of the weirdest things I've probably ever seen. Ever. We're going to start off with Triad Combat, the new Triller. I guess this is a league. I don't know what it is. The triangle sided ring, the 3-sided ring, Triad Combat. It is MMA versus boxing, but only boxing rules, except you can clinch. It's like the only difference.
It was the biggest, dumbest mistake. You know, I'm all for experimentation and trying something new, but whenever you design something that people like me who have never really watched that much MMA or boxing and look at it and go, that's not going to work, I'm pretty sure that's a sign that it's not going to work.
Yeah, this was weird.
How many times did people fall out of this ring, Ryan?
Almost every fight. Yeah. You had people falling out of the ring. The ring was so small that when you fell over, your head basically hit it.
Yeah.
This was crazy to me. That, I mean, it's one thing to do a triangle ring, but you couldn't do it any bigger.
Well, not only that, but even if it was bigger, okay. I think we talked about this last week.
Yeah.
If it was a cage or ropes or whatever, which it turned out to be ropes, which is even a bigger mistake, but when you get into a corner, when it's a triangle, it's a narrow corner. Where do you go? You get them into that corner, you're either going to fall out of the ring or you're going to get stuck if it was a cage. And that's exactly what happened. Every time you went to a corner, one of them ended up out of the ring.
We'll go through the card here, and most of these people you're not going to know. There are a couple big names on here. Harry Gigliotti defeated Jacob Thrall. Alexa Culp defeated Angelina Hofschneider. Albert Tumanov defeated Scott Sigmund. Derek Campos defeated Brian Vera. Mike Perry defeated Michael Sears. Alexander Flores defeated Matt Mitroni. And in the main event, it was Kubrat Pulev versus Frank Mir. Now, Kubrat Pulev is a boxer.
Yeah.
He's an older boxer, but he has he's 28-2. Okay. He and Frank Mir is out of shape compared to what he used to be. He is nowhere near the Frank Mir of old. This fight was insanity. Frank Mir was knocked out without actually being knocked down. Kubrat Pulev hit him a couple times. It was freaking Mortal Kombat is what this was. He was staggering like at the end of Mortal Kombat, moving his head off his feet, and then the referee wouldn't step in. So Pulev hit him again, and that one he was out. And finally the referee steps in and stops the fight. But if he would have stopped it, Frank Mir could have been seriously injured here. And the internet called him out on it. They said this was the whole show got called out saying it was completely unsafe. And that this was stupid. Yeah. I don't know if they're going to do another one.
Well, I don't know who owns Triller, but they need to be shut down because between the celebrity boxing that they've been doing, where like Nate Robinson almost got seriously hurt because he never boxed in his life and got knocked out, and then you got this. It's just they need to stop. And but for the sake of sports, and we are scores, Ryan, who won, boxing or MMA?
Let's see. I mean, if I knew who was who, I could tell you.
I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure it was boxing. I know Mike Perry's MMA. He won, but
let's see if it says.
Well, Matt Mitrione was MMA. He lost.
Yeah, Frank Mir lost. Matt Mitrione lost, but I think the boxers did well, or the MMA guys did well. As far as overall, but I can't. No one's really saying.
Well, I'm gonna give it to boxing. Because the two heavyweight fights both went to the boxers, so I'm giving it to boxing.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, let's move on. What do you want to talk about next?
Yeah. Let's move on. Let's move on to baseball. It's the off season of baseball, but we've got some pretty big news coming out of today with some free agent signings plus some proposals in the new CBA negotiations.
All right.
One of the big ones, Max Scherzer is on the move. Max Scherzer will be moving to the Big Apple, where he has signed a 3-year, $130 million contract to sign with the New York Mets.
All right.
The Mets also signed center fielder Sterling Marte, infielder Eduardo Escobar, and outfielder Mark Canha, who have the deals combined for $124.5 million.
Man, Mets are making big moves here.
Now, Mets went on a signing spree.
Never really talk about the Mets, you
know? Yeah. Also,
maybe that'll change.
Corey Seager signed a 10-year, $325 million deal to sign with the Texas Rangers. They also signed Marcus Semien to a $175 million 7-year deal. Bunch of these teams trying to make moves here. The Mariners signed Cy Young winner Robbie Ray to a $115 million contract. A lot of people on the move.
What's crazy about baseball is you hear these huge numbers, but then you got to realize that these contracts are so freaking, 7 years. No other sport does anybody sign a 7-year contract.
Wasn't there a guy in hockey one time that signed like a 20-year deal or some shit?
Well, except for the oddballs on that.
Yeah.
But
this is like
because other sports, 7 years, that's like half your career, if not more than half. But baseball, they played 20, 25 years. So.
Yeah. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff happening in baseball. We also have, according to sources, Major League Baseball is going to have an expanded playoff proposal as part of a new collective bargaining agreement. Includes the ability for division winners to pick their wild card opponent, according to sources familiar with the negotiations. The format, here's the format. The format would call for 14 teams, 7 from each league, to make the playoffs. 4 more than currently play in the postseason. The 3 division winners in each league would be joined by 4 wild card teams to make up the playoff field. The team with the best record in each league would get a bye into the best of 5 division series. The remaining 2 division winners would get to pick their wild card opponent from the bottom 3 wild card teams. The division winner with the second best record would pick first, then the number 3 seed in the league would pick its opponent from the final 2 wild card teams. The wild card team with the best record would play the wild card team that wasn't picked by a division winner.
My God. If you're a baseball purist, you might as well just be watching baseball if this gets approved.
Once the matchups are set, the higher seeded teams would host all 3 games in a best of 3 wild card round. And then it would continue
3 games.
A 3-game wild card round where the higher seed would host all 3 games. Yeah. I feel like that's way too much time for like the number 1 seed. You're gonna wait for a 3-game series. That seems like crazy.
Yeah, but not only that, but picking your opponents.
Yeah.
I mean, what the?
And another addition to the negotiations is an NBA style lottery system for the draft.
See, I'm okay with that. But this whole, dude, the bad part is it's probably going to get approved because baseball is all about money, and all this does is add more playoff games and add more money. So it's probably going to get approved. But, dude, you're almost to NBA, man. 14 teams.
Yeah. The draft system would work. The lottery system would work. Any team that didn't make the playoffs would have a chance, like the NBA, with the worst record having the best odds. And the lottery system would be through picks 1 through 3, and then it would go in order of where they finish after that. So 2 really big changes in the new CBA negotiations. I don't know if either of them will pass. That playoff one is going to take some real big negotiations to get the old school, like owners and stuff to agree to that. I don't know. That sounds too crazy.
It's crazy and it's complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's move on to something that's not so complicated, Ryan, and that's NFL football.
Well, you say it's not complicated, but the playoff situation right now is really complicated.
I mean, it's not complicated. It's just cluster.
Well, we had 3 games on Thursday this week due to it being Thanksgiving, and every game was really good except for one. Bears and Lions. Well, I got they're really good. Bears and Lions was a stinker. Jeff's not here, and he would agree with me though. This game sucked all around. Both teams didn't seem like they wanted to win. The Bears barely escaped with a 16-14 victory on a last-second field goal. But my God, that's absolutely terrible. Just terrible. Also on Thursday, we had Raiders and Cowboys. Now this game was great. I don't care if you're a fan of either team. This game was something to watch. This game went to overtime with the Raiders getting the win, 36-33, a huge win for the Raiders, as that now puts them back in the hunt for the playoffs. I think a loss there would have really ended the season. So really big win and a big loss for the Cowboys, who were searching for that number 1 seed in the NFC. And now who knows what could happen?
Yeah.
The other game on Thursday, Bills beat the Saints 31-6. This wasn't even close. Josh Allen destroyed the Saints.
Where was that Josh Allen the week before,
On to the Sunday games. We're going to start with a game you were at live, and I want to get your opinion on the game since you were there live. Watching it on TV was a very exciting game. How was the atmosphere in the actual stadium?
This game, okay, so we went to the Jacksonville game the week before, right? Or the whenever 2 weeks ago. At a game, I could go to the bathroom and get back to my seat in no time. I could go get to the concession stand. Dude, this game, as soon as we walked in there, it was, you couldn't move. It was crazy. And, yeah, dude, it was loud the whole game. It was a great game. Unfortunately, the Colts lost, but they were in it till the end. Also, Robert Mathis, one of the best defensive ends in football, got put into the Circle of Fame or Circle of Honor.
Oh, Circle of Honor.
Yeah, Circle of Honor at the Colts Stadium. I got pictures of him and video of them unveiling his number and all that. I also got a video of Jonathan Taylor running in a touchdown because I was in one of the end zones and he ran one in right in front of us. It was freaking sweet. I screamed like a little girl. It's on Facebook. And then we also, it was great. He was 17 yards away, Jonathan Taylor, from breaking an NFL record.
Yep.
If he would have got 100 yards in this game with that touchdown, he would have had the most games in NFL history with consecutive 100 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, he had 83 yards. And part of that was due to the fact that Indianapolis didn't run the ball the entire first half.
Yeah, their running game did not start until the second half. I don't know what was going on.
It was the fourth quarter. Like the fourth quarter started, and they were like, "Okay, we can start running now."
Yeah, it was interesting, but the defense played good, the offense played good, but there were some big plays, big mistakes on both teams. It was a back and forth game, man. It could have went either way, and it was exciting. Big loss though for the Colts because now they're 6-6.
Yeah.
We got 17 games now. If they go 9-8, which is weird to say because we've never had that many games before. If they go 9-8, I don't think they make it.
Yeah.
I don't know though. I don't know. So clustered, who knows?
Yeah, Tampa Bay moves to 8-3. Leonard Fournette in this game had 3 touchdowns rushing, 1 touchdown receiving. Leonard Fournette, just an insane day. Just all around crazy. So the Buccaneers move with the win here. But again, it was a very good game to watch on TV. I can only imagine in the stadium how crazy that game was. Yeah, especially with Tom Brady being there. I mean, that's
it was nuts. It was nuts.
Elsewhere, the Bengals put a hurting on the Steelers, 41-10. Bengals moved to 7-4. Probably the biggest surprise team of the year in some people's eyes. Not for you, though.
No.
Not for you. You picked them to win the division.
Yes, I did.
And that could almost happen. They're right there. That division's crazy. We'll get to that. Dolphins beat the Panthers 33-10. Cam Newton did not look good here. Cam Newton struggled a little bit. PJ Walker ended up coming in. He struggled too. Both quarterbacks of Carolina struggled against the Dolphins defense. 33-10. Patriots, look out. Patriots are back. They put a hurting on the Titans, 36-13. Mac Jones had 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Oh, boy.
Wow.
Oh, boy. I don't like to say it, but I think the Patriots are back.
Yeah.
Giants and Eagles played a stinker with Giants winning 13-7. You like defense, I guess you were a fan of this game.
I don't even know if it was great.
No. Falcons beat the Jaguars 21-14. Falcons are so bad they can barely beat the Jaguars. Jets beat the Texans 21-14. Again, not a lot of scoring in either of these games. Broncos beat the Chargers 28-13. A little bit of a shocker there. Chargers started off pretty good. They've been on a kind of a downhill slide here lately. That AFC West just continues to be crazy.
Yeah, every team is still in it.
Yeah. Packers beat the Rams 36-28. Aaron Rodgers had a toe injury. Did not matter. And as Jeff said last week, the Odell Beckham Jr. curse is alive and well in Los Angeles. They haven't won a game since he came to the team. And then we had 49ers take out the Vikings 34-26. Big win for the 49ers there. And the Ravens beat the Browns 16-10 on Sunday night, moving the Ravens to 8-3. As we look at the updated standings, it is downright bonkers. New England is now moved into the lead of the AFC East. Baltimore leading the North, Tennessee leading the South, and Kansas City is leading the West. In the NFC, Dallas is leading the East only because the East is absolute garbage. The North is led by Green Bay, the South is Tampa, and the West is Arizona. But if you look at the playoff picture, man, we are in it deep. Baltimore currently holds the 1 seed in the AFC. New England is second.
Yeah, they hold the number 1 seed, but it doesn't feel like a favorite to me, man.
No, they don't. They're winning, but they're barely beating teams. And New England, who I hate, but they have been destroying teams the last couple of weeks. So
yeah, and when the Ravens lose, they lose bad.
Yeah, New England is in second, Tennessee is in third, and Kansas City is in fourth. After that, you've got Cincinnati and Buffalo in fifth and sixth. Los Angeles is a game behind them in seventh. Las Vegas, Denver are all sitting at 6 and 5. Indianapolis is 6 and 6. Pittsburgh is 5 and 5. Cleveland 5 and 6, and then Miami 5 and 7. So all those teams from 5 to 13 are realistically still in the hunt for wild card spots, or even taking one of the top 4 seeds. So, yeah, the AFC is insane. Out there in the NFC, Arizona still holding on to that slim first place, but Green Bay and Tampa Bay are making a run at them. Dallas is in fourth, again, only because their conference is absolute trash. Los Angeles holds the first wild card spot. San Francisco has the 6th spot. Minnesota has the 7th spot. After that, you've got Atlanta, New Orleans, Philadelphia, and Carolina all in the hunt, with Washington, New York, Chicago, Seattle, and Detroit probably not going to be in the hunt. So, well, yeah, it's still a crazy time here in the NFL, and again with the extra.
We only got 6 weeks left, but it's crazy.
Yeah, well, we got some next week here on the schedule. Some decent games. Some games that actually there's not a lot of. New England Buffalo will be really good. That's the Monday night game. Other than that, Denver Kansas City might be good.
That might. I mean, both of those could decide the division winners there.
Yeah. Los Angeles at Cincinnati could be a really good game. The Chargers at Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So, yeah. A lot of these other games are going to be absolute blowouts, like Indiana at Houston. The Rams at Jacksonville, or Jacksonville at the Rams. That's going to be a blowout. Baltimore, Pittsburgh. Baltimore's probably going to win that. So, we'll see, though. You never know. The NFL's crazy, and anything can happen at any time. So.
Yeah, a lot of the teams, like Jacksonville's picked up some wins over teams that I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So you never know what can happen in the NFL. Let's go to college, Ryan. We're wrapping up the regular season in college football.
And we had, this was the final week, before the championship week. So we're going to have championship games next week, and we'll tell you who is in those. But first, we have to go through the top 25. Ole Miss, number 9, beat Mississippi State 31-21. Number 4, Cincinnati runs the table through the regular season, beating East Carolina 35-13. Iowa, number 16, beat Nebraska 28-21. That walked in the Big Ten West for them. Number 19, Utah beat Colorado 28-13. Number 20, NC State beat in-state rival North Carolina. Oh, it was also rivalry week, by the way, too. So,
34. Oh yeah. Last week's always rough.
San Diego State beat Boise State. San Diego State's 21st. They beat them 27-16. Number 25, Arkansas beat Missouri 34-17. And then it was Saturday, the big games. We had number 1 Georgia and Georgia Tech. Wasn't even close. Georgia wins 45-0. In the big game, as everyone calls it, at the big house, it was number 5 Michigan hosting number 2 Ohio State. Michigan has not beat Ohio State since Harbaugh took over as the team. That changed tonight on this day, as Michigan Number 5 beat number 2 Ohio State 42-27, giving Michigan the Big Ten East Championship, and they will play Iowa in the Big Ten Championship next week. That I did not expect that. That's pretty crazy that Michigan didn't just win. I mean, they blew them out.
Yeah, it was a so that shakes up the top 4 there.
Yeah, that does very well.
I mean, I would think anyway.
Number 3 Alabama took on Auburn in the Iron Bowl, and this game went to 4 overtimes.
Yeah, they always struggle with Auburn,
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
What was Auburn like? 6-5 or some shit?
Auburn is 6-6 after this game. So
yeah, so they're 6-5, and yeah, they always struggle with Auburn.
Yeah, they always struggle. But Alabama gets the win 24-22 in 4 overtimes. Number 6 Notre Dame beat Stanford 45-14. Number 7 Oklahoma State beats number 10 Oklahoma 37-33. That means they will head to the Big 12 championship. Number 8 Baylor beat Texas Tech 27-24. They will also head to the Big 12 championship. Number 11 Oregon beat Oregon State 38-29. Number 12 Michigan State beat Penn State 30-27. Number 13 BYU beat USC 35-31. Minnesota upsets number 14 Wisconsin 23-13 to take back Paul Bunyan's axe. Number 15 Texas A&M loses to LSU 27-24. Number 17 Pittsburgh beat. Oh, that by the way was Ed Orgeron's last coaching game as LSU head coach. He said he will not coach the bowl game. So. Number 17, Pittsburgh beat Syracuse 31-14. Number 18, Wake Forest beat Boston College 41-10. North Texas upsets number 22, UTSA 45-23. Number 23, Clemson beat South Carolina 30-0. And number 24, Houston beat UConn 45-17. Before we go into the championship games, the new top 25 is out. Obviously, Georgia number 1. Michigan moves up to number 2. Cincinnati is number 3, and Alabama is number 4. Now, if Georgia beats Alabama and Oklahoma State wins their championship game, I assume Oklahoma State will probably move in.
We got some high stakes next week. So what are all the championship games, Ryan?
So next week, something screwed up here.
We know it's Baylor and Oklahoma State, but for the Big 12. Is it Michigan versus?
It's Michigan, Iowa.
Michigan, Iowa. Wow. That's not what you would have expected at the beginning of the year.
God dang it. What's going on? Hold on. There we go. Okay, week 14, the bowl week. We've got championship game. We got Western Kentucky versus UTSA. With the Riot. Oh, Conference USA championship. Number 11, Oregon will take on number 19, Utah for the Pac-12 championship. Both of those games will be Friday. On Saturday, we got number 8, Baylor at number 7, Oklahoma State for the Big 12 championship. Number 21, San Diego State will take on Utah State for the Mountain West championship. Georgia and Alabama in the SEC championship. Cincinnati will have a tough test, though, as they go against number 24, Houston for the American Athletic Conference championship game. If they win, they're probably in. But if they lose,
which everybody was saying they didn't think they'd make it. So I mean, granted they had some help, with Ohio State losing and whatnot, but I still think that they should have been in all along. So hopefully they win next week.
And then Michigan and Iowa. Again, if Michigan wins, they will be in. But if Iowa pulls the upset, Michigan will drop out, and then who knows what the hell's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then Pittsburgh and Wake Forest will go battle for the ACC championship.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea who's actually going to make it.
You say Pittsburgh and Wake Forest?
Pittsburgh and Wake Forest are in the ACC championship game. And no, that's not college basketball. That is college football.
What the? Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, I like it. I wish there were more of that stuff. More teams making it. Make some. College football has been stale for a while in my book. Same people winning all the time. Some people like that. I'm not one of them.
We do have a couple news to get through here. In college football. Big coaching change. Lincoln Riley will be leaving Oklahoma and he heads to USC. SEC fans thought LSU fans thought he was going to head to LSU, but no, he's going to Cali and he will coach up the USC Trojans. That leaves the Oklahoma job.
Yeah, California love.
Also, Oklahoma will be losing their preseason Heisman favorite, Spencer Rattler. He is leaving. He was benched earlier this year, and he said he is leaving. He will be entering the transfer portal. And with the new transfer rules, he can play immediately next year. So,
right. That's what's going to get interesting with that transfer rule. I mean, especially in basketball and football,
Yeah. Speaking of basketball, let's jump into the scores of the big games. Again, we don't do every game in basketball because there's too much to do. But we'll go through the big ones from the game. Number one, a big one from last Tuesday. We had number 1 Gonzaga take on number 2 UCLA. Gonzaga blew them out 83-63. Gonzaga's looking pretty damn good.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, you say that, Ryan, but Duke beat Gonzaga.
Yep.
Don't forget that.
In 2 overtimes at the Bad Boy Mowers Battle for Atlantis. Number 22 UConn beat number 19 Auburn 115-109.
Yeah. Just one other thing I want to mention about Gonzaga. I'm glad that's the only time you'll ever hear me say that I'm glad Duke won.
Yeah.
Now we don't have to worry about the Gonzaga undefeated talk.
Yeah.
That we have every year.
Yeah. Duke, like you said, did beat Gonzaga 84-81. So yeah, Duke's still undefeated right now. It won't last because when they play in the ACC, there's no way they're going to go undefeated. There's no way. But yeah, let's go through the top 25. With that win, Duke has now moved up to number 1. Purdue makes the jump up to number 2. Gonzaga 3, Baylor 4, UCLA 5, Villanova 6, Texas 7, Kansas is 8, Kentucky 9, Arkansas 10, Arizona 11, BYU 12, Tennessee 13, Florida 14th, Houston 15th, Alabama 16th, UConn 17, Memphis is 18, Iowa State 19, USC 20, Auburn 21, Michigan State 22, Wisconsin 23, 24 is Michigan, and 25 is Seton Hall.
Yeah.
Illinois, St. Bonaventure, and Xavier all dropped out of the top 25. And Iowa State made it in, and Michigan State made it in. There you go. That's your college basketball update.
So what do you think, Rev? Who's the favorite so far?
I mean, Duke's looking pretty good. Duke's beat, both Kansas and Gonzaga already. So, I mean, it's hard to bet against them. But you never know. It's college basketball. You never know who they're gonna. Or they beat Kentucky. Sorry, they didn't beat Kansas. They beat Kentucky.
But that's all they've played. They beat Kentucky and Gonzaga, and they've played absolutely nobody of note other than that. So,
yeah.
We'll find out tomorrow when they play Ohio State in the Big Ten ACC Challenge.
Yeah, that'll be that's going to be there's some tough games in that Big Ten ACC Challenge this
year. Yeah. All right, I guess we'll move on to the NBA standings.
Yeah.
Not much has changed, except for Brooklyn has moved into the first place now in the East.
That's one of the few teams in the East that actually seem like they belong.
It's moving a little bit more towards normal as Brooklyn's number 1, Miami 2, Washington 3, Milwaukee has moved all the way up to 4th, Chicago 5th.
1 week. Yeah. 1 week.
They were like 10th place last year, like 9th or 8th place last week. That's what winning 7 in a row does for you.
Yeah.
Chicago is 5th, Charlotte is 6th, New York is 7th, Atlanta 8th, Boston 9th, and Cleveland is 10th. Then Philadelphia, Toronto, Indiana, Detroit, and Orlando. In the Western Conference, it is still Golden State out front, followed by Phoenix, Utah, Dallas, Clippers, Lakers, Portland, Minnesota, Memphis, and Denver, and then Sacramento, Oklahoma City, San Antonio, New Orleans, and Houston. Sacramento did fire their head coach.
Which kind of saw it coming.
Good old Luke Walton is now gone again.
Yeah.
I mean, they were struggling. You knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, the writing was on the wall.
I don't really know if it's the coaching's fault. That organization's been terrible for years.
So
I could see them moving cities eventually. That would piss a lot of Sacramento people off, but it could happen.
I don't know. They built that brand new arena.
I think they'll be.
Yeah,
I think they'll be all right, just based on, you know. We'll move on to hockey. We got a little controversy as Evander Kane, who is played, and I said played for the San Jose Sharks, has been put on waivers. He is suspended currently. They placed him on waivers. They're going to send him to the AHL if he isn't claimed by another team. He was suspended 21 games for submitting a fake vaccination card.
You think he would have learned his lesson from Aaron Rodgers?
Isn't that illegal? Like, isn't that like not just illegal like in the NHL? Isn't that like against the law? Like, to have a fake vaccination card?
I mean, I would think so.
I mean, I'm just saying. Yeah, so we'll see if any team wants to pick him up. I'm not sure if any team will, but we'll definitely see. And then that's all the news. Into the standings. Toronto is leading the Eastern Conference, the Atlantic Division. Florida still up there. They're in second. Tampa Bay third. Detroit fourth. Boston, Buffalo, Montreal, and then Ottawa. In the Metro Division, we got Washington leading the way. Good to see Washington back up there. They won the title and then didn't do anything afterwards for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Carolina is in second. New York Rangers are third. Columbus fourth. Pittsburgh fifth. New Jersey sixth. Philadelphia, and then the New York Islanders. Out in the West, the Central Division, the Minnesota Wild in first place. That's what I like to see. St. Louis, followed by Winnipeg, Colorado, Nashville, Dallas, Chicago, and Arizona. And out in the Pacific, Edmonton leading the way. Little shock. Followed by Calgary, Anaheim, then Vegas, then San Jose, Los Angeles. Seattle has moved out of last place, and Vancouver is now in last. So Seattle, look at that. They're not in last place anymore.
Yeah.
Moving up in the world. Is that it? I don't think there's anything.
You didn't talk about LeBron James getting fined $15,000 for grabbing his crotch during his. I feel like that was a makeup from a couple weeks. He's been doing stuff to fans and doing stuff to getting people ejected and also elbowing that rookie.
Yeah. And then those two teams met up again. Detroit and LA in LA this time, and then it wasn't as heated, but there were some moments.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't think there's any golf or tennis or anything like that. There was the match between Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah, there was a lot of trash talking for a golf match, let me tell you.
Yeah, they don't like each other. Didn't seem like, at least.
No, not at all. Two of the bigger young stars of golf in recent years. Last 2 years, I'd say.
There was a lot of trash talk. It was pretty cool though. And you had Phil Mickelson there just stirring the pot the whole time, which was great.
Yeah.
Like he just kept saying stuff, and like Charles Barkley, like it was like they just kept stirring the pot. It was awesome.
That's what they do, man. That's what they do.
Not really any tennis going on either. So except for USA got beat in the Davis Cup finals.
Yeah, we can talk about that. Yeah,
they lost to Colombia. It's the women.
Wow.
Davis Cup. Yeah, they lost to Colombia. The 32-time champion, the American team, were eliminated from the finals.
Yep. That's insane.
Yeah. Crazy. I think that might do it.
Yeah, I think so. I think we covered pretty much all of it. We cover everything here on Scores, let me tell you.
Not everything. We haven't talked to CFL in a couple weeks.
Oh, well, yeah. Isn't their season almost over?
They're in this week coming up is their final week.
All right. Well, we'll talk about their playoffs or the Grey Cup as their championship.
I don't even know how their playoffs work. I see. 6 teams.
Yep.
It's already over. I mean, this next week means nothing. Who was in is in. This final week means absolutely nothing because Toronto, Hamilton, and Montreal clinched out of the East, and Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, and Calgary clinched out of the East or the West. So there you go.
There you go.
And the seedings aren't going to change either because they're all so far apart from each other. It don't matter.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. All right. I think that's going to do it now.
All right. That was a good one.
This was fun. It was a crazy week in sports. I think it's only going to get crazier as we move on closer to the end of the NFL season, and then college and NBA ramp up here. Big week in college football as it's championship week. We'll find out who's going to be in the playoffs. It's going to, I'm sure, be some controversy that we will talk about on this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
As always, if you like this podcast, tune into our video game and our wrestling podcast. Those drop Wednesday morning and Saturday morning, or Thursday morning and Saturday morning. Tune into those. We'll be talking, especially on the video game wrestling podcast. We're going to be doing our predictions for war games, even though, I mean, we'll see. And talking the week of wrestling. So tune into all that. As always, subscribe to all the social media at Sabri ENT to keep up with us. I live tweet when I'm watching sports or video games and stuff like that. So if you want to interact with me, it is at Sabri ENT on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. So for Nathan, I am Ryan, reminding you to always score if you can, save if you must, but always suplex when necessary.
Later.